Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Already starting season 71, and it kinda lived up to its hype. Doing crazy hits with all the abilities. And what we're showing here is a bit of a recap of our first stream, like we said before, starting a rank 1 account and keeping it free to play. Not gonna be showing too many of these super early hits, but just to see that we're kinda getting the ball rolling. The very beginning is really just dropping troops and watching them go. The good thing about rifles for no IT is they train really fast. So the few times where we did run out of troops, we just wait maybe 5-10 minutes and pretty much get them all back. And we really did these hits all the way until rank 8, because other than using rifles, it's really going all the way until Super Warriors. That's the next big tech. And along the way, upgrading not too many stuff, really just maxing out rifles early and using those as the main troop. And once the time was right, we hit rank 8 and we can finally get Super Warriors. Really changing up the hits because now we almost don't even need to drop any troops. Even in our first hit, we're facing a lot of 3s with spread out stuff like upgraded flames, mines, but Super Warriors, they don't care about that. We have enough GBE to throw 3 or 4 of them just straight on the ER and finish a hit in like 15 seconds. At this point we did max our gunboat and I think our GBE was 30% and maybe a string of like 10 or 15 matches where you don't even have to drop any troops. The few times we faced a few dirty bases, and that's when you have maybe shock launchers, boom cannons, you can't really do one Super Warrior for each ER. So what we did instead is kind of a few just nearby buildings, and then one on each ER. And a base like this, you can take a few more troops for the left ER. So dropping the troops, and on the right side over there, just a couple Super Warriors in the middle, and then just one on each ER. Because that way the middle ones are, let's say, killing a shock launcher, distracting other buildings, and then the ones on the ER are actually doing that job. All the while the left troops can only get one ER, and it's still a decent time. Kinda doing hits all the way to rank 11, and with that we saved our 4 starting chests too, so getting a ton of keys right now, almost to 100. And with that we kinda had to decide. Originally it was getting Seekers and then maybe going to 5 ER, but after playing a bit we realized that defib is super strong and even 3 ER isn't too bad of a deck layout. So we ended up getting Seekers, but then just taking that straight bottom path towards the edge of the tree. And even once we did have Seekers, they're probably the worst troop, at least reserve wise, for free to play. But right now, a lot of these 3 ERs we can still only use Super Warriors. So same deal, throwing at least 1 per ER, and because of our GBE having 1 extra, on both multi-nodes we did pick 40 troop damage, so these Super Warriors doing a ton of extra damage. And just like that, only doing a 12-second hit. Once we did a few of those hits, we can rank up 1 time, pick up Cryo Bomb. That really helps out not only Seekers but Super Warriors, clears mines and slows down buildings. But even on some bases where you can use Seekers, sometimes we chose rifled Cryos, just to not lose too many Seeks. And like right there with the Cryo Bomb, just enough for 4 Super Warriors and 1 Cryo Bomb. So still doing some Super Warriors in the middle, distracting buildings, and then just 1 per ER. Our base did help out too, so not always having to do the fastest hit, as long as it's good enough to win. And even without doing many secret hits at all, could rank up 1 more time, get speed serum, and then facing some bases with shock launchers towards the beach. And once we have Cryo Bomb speed serum, we can really start doing more secret hits. So always trying to use Super Warriors to both kill an ER and distract buildings. So like right here, 2 for the middle shock launcher and 1 for ER. On the left side, just dropping all the Seekers, one Cryo Bomb. And even Speed Serum helps out both Super Warriors and Seekers. So still doing just 20-second hits. We did face a few nasty bases like this one here. And we tried something a little different, knowing that if we use Seekers, we'll probably lose a bunch of troops. So if we can, maybe trying out some abilities only. Especially when all the ERs are clumped together, one Cryo Bomb right in the middle can do a ton of value. It's really just planning that you want to do one Super Warrior on each ER, but that first one that's extra, just to distract a few buildings. So the first one was on the far left, and then we did all the other three right after with one Cryo Bomb in the middle. So even though he had 30 building damage, if you time it just right, that Cryo Bomb, everything takes so long to shoot where all the ERs are almost dead. And once we hit 13, we could finally open the last main ability of the season. We got Defib, and only had tokens for level 3, but might still be good enough. But the main thing we want to do once we get Defib is go back and change Super Warriors to Shocks. As long as we have one ability that can take down ERs, that's really all we need. Shocks especially help out on shocking shock launchers and even other splash like machine guns or flamethrowers. So as we're doing hits with them, on most 3 ERs using Defib for the 2 on the right side, and then you can always use Seekers on the far left. So every hit just planning out where you're going to throw the Defib and where you're going to throw Shocks. So most hits just dropping Seekers, doing a Cryo Bomb if there's mines, and then we can do a bunch of Defib. Like on the right side, most rifles are in the shock launcher blind spot, so we don't need a shock there. You get one on the left side and speed up those rifles. Could have done a little better, maybe like an extra shock on the left, but still 334 on those 3 ERs. A lot of times it's still okay. And almost every 3 ER is like this, even if it's dirty like on this base. We don't want any Seekers on the right side because we're going to lose a ton. So just trying to find ways where you can use Defib to take down both ERs. Almost always doing one Cryo Bomb in the beginning, because even if you shock the same building you're going to Cryo Bomb, it saves some time on throwing those shocks. Or unlike this space here, you can't really shock that shock launcher, so a Cryo Bomb really helps out. Even faced a 4 ER at some point, which I wouldn't really rush to because that right ramp opens up and it's a lot worse deck. So on a bases like this, you can really spread out Seekers and still get a fast time. And oftentimes we're only doing 2 Defibs max, so still using Cryo Bombs on clearing other shock mines. Like here 2 Defibs take down that shock launcher, just 1 shock on the crit launcher. And especially making sure we do serum on those rifles. Can always flare 2 and any other serum on Seekers, with 4 ER times being a lot similar to 3. Some of our last fights to gold was against 5 ERs, and that's what usually happens because even though we're 3 and they're 5, matchmaking, if it takes too long, wants to match anyone around the same rank. And most 5s we hit by defibbing the top 2 ERs. Always want to defib the ER that's covered by a shield, because you know you can flare the last one, but you can't flare the one under the shield. And then planning out your Seekers. So on a base like this, maybe most of the Seekers on the right side, with just 2 delayed on the far left. Again doing Cryo Bomb, then defib, then any shocks. Here we're delaying 2 more Seekers, and the last ability is Serum on the rifles. On that base, we kind of screwed up and left 1 shock mine above the ER. So when we did that flare, a few rifles were hit, and it cost us by a few seconds. So even though 333 was a great time, we'll see if it was fast enough. So a bit unlucky right there, cause even these 5s can be fast on our 3 ER. But then we get one more shot, and also a bunch of people want to become members, so seeing a few of those on this hit. And even the number of seekers. Some of our boats aren't full cause we didn't lose too many, but still a handful. So really our last shot cause we don't have too many seekers left over. But another 5 ER, and we know it's the same kind of hit. We want to defib 2 ERs and use seekers for the other 3. This time there's a shock launcher towards the bottom, so kind of planning that where you can throw cryo bombs. Because we're only using 2 defibs, it's better to cryo bomb maybe 1 or 2 shock mines for the seekers. Otherwise use all the abilities for the defib. So what we did here, 1 cryo bomb for that shock mine, and slow down that shock launcher. And since the ER covered by a shield is on the right, do defibs on the right side. Cryo bomb, defib, and shock. And the last thing is doing that serum. So as soon as that ER dies, we send that flare, another serum, and shock. And even on these 5 ERs, we can get 337. Still is a lot going on, but especially in the next few videos, we'll try to break it down a bit more. This one's kind of a speed run since we're doing rank 1 all the way to 16. And it was our last fight, so we picked up that chest and really just happy that free to play can still get it done. Was lucky it was our last fight cause didn't really want to wait to train seekers. And that's really just the path we took. We didn't upgrade snipers and we stayed 3 ER, but for the most part, it's the same path as before. We got super warriors, then cryo bomb. Eventually, once we got defib, we changed super warriors to shocks, and that was a big help. And now since we hit gold and we already got defib, we'll probably head towards 5 ER next and later even to 6. But let me know what you think and hope the season starts well. That's gonna be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.